was just watching your reel on LinkedIn, and I loved every second of it.
Thank you.
Because you talk about creativity in the business setting, and and not just limited to being somebody like me who's a stand-up comic or a producer and all that, but you talk more about it in the business setting. So can we just go, I mean, you founded Unmistakable Media about 10 years ago. So can we talk a little bit about that and how you got into it?
Absolutely. So, I mean, I am sort of the sort of ultimate accidental, entrepreneur. Like, none of this was part of any grand plan or anything like that. I got out of business school. I couldn't find a job. It was 2009. So that was a horrible time to get out of school of any kind. Yeah. And as you probably know, depending on how old you are, like, the market was just garbage. And, I found myself living at my parents' house. I needed something to do to pass the time. And so I enrolled in this online course on how to start a blog. And about, one of the lessons in it was interview somebody as a way to get traffic. And so I basically spun it into a weekly interview series. And the 13th guy I interviewed said, "You're a much better interviewer than you are a writer," which to this day I still think is true. But he suggested spinning it out into a separate site. So we started out as this like podcast for bloggers called Blogcast FM. And then one of the people I interviewed ended up being my first mentor, and he kind of shifted our direction pretty drastically in 2014, where he said, "Let's just rebrand the whole thing as Unmistakable Creative," because we started to notice some interesting patterns in the content that I liked creating, as well as the ones that resonated with our listeners. And we didn't ask our listeners who were online entrepreneurs or anybody. We had other friends who would listen just for entertainment's sake. And so we went to them and we're like, "You guys are actually a more representative sample